Alright, so in this one we are going to start actually coding our, what's going on here? Oh, we're going to start coding our thing here. Alright, so what I'm going to do first, just because it's the most fun, is I'm just going to make it so that we control our guy. And we can do this a couple different ways. I'm going to show you one thing real quick. One way to do this is we have to select it first. And I'm going to go to the properties up here. And yours probably has, I already did this earlier, it probably says instance name when you have this selected. You just want to make sure we're going to put in player, because that's how our code's going to grab a hold of this. Now, one way to do this is we can go to code snippets, take off this, and you can go to like animation and move with keyboard arrows. Don't do this, I'm just showing you. And what this will do is it'll set up this scenario. And basically what it says is that when you push down a button, whether it be up, down, left, or right, and you can change these or add more to them for like shoot and other things. It'll say up press is true, and then when you let go, it'll say up press is false. And when it's true, it adds to the transform of the player on every frame. Okay, see how it says enter frame? That's when this runs. So this runs as a loop. All right. Now, what that'll allow you to do, and you can play with these numbers to make it move faster and slower. What that'll allow you to do is this. You can see now I can move with my keys here. Yay, right? And in some ways this makes more sense because I think this is probably more traditional, what you would expect from a Galaga style game. So if you want to use this, that's fine. You're going to see the system we have set up is relatively simple. Alright, and good. And so what I would do is, do something like that, and then you can just add another press key for like space bar so that if it gets pressed that it shoots. Okay. In my case, I'm not actually going to use that. I'm going to go ahead and do it with the mouse instead, just because I think it'll be different than the other ones, just to make it more interesting. So what I'm going to do is it's going to have to run on every frame. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this thing's X position to the position of the mouse. So we're going to go to event handlers, and I want to do enter frame event. So double click on that and go ahead and we will delete that. And I am going to go ahead and we're going to change this to, I'm going to call it player control. All right. That's just so that we know what this function is. And we'll call it player control. And literally all we're going to do, very simply, is we're going to say player.x is going to be equal to the stage.mouse x. Okay, so basically its x position is going to be equal to the x position of my mouse. Okay, then we're going to do player.y, and in this case I am not going to have up and down, although you know what, it might be cool to have a little bit up and down. I got an idea. What we're going to do is I'm going to make it so we can go up and down a little bit, just so there's a little bit more of a wiggle room. Before I just did it equal to whatever this currently is. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it go up to a certain amount. So we're going to set it, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to say equal to stage.mouse y. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up an if statement. And we're going to say if player.y, if its y position is greater than, and then I'm just going to see how high I want this to go. So, oops, I don't know why I did that. All right, so we'll say, let's have it not go too high. We'll say up to about here. And that shows 550, we'll say. Okay, so let's go back to, actually see here, boom. So we're going to say if the player Y position is greater than 550, oops, we're going to go ahead and say that player.y is equal to 550. And basically what that's going to do, semicolon, that's going to say that if it gets greater than it, just put it right back down. Okay, so now if I hit, and just recognize that this will happen every frame, so it's a loop basically. So now if I hit Control Enter or Command Enter, you will see that it will move around. Oops, I did it the wrong direction. It actually won't go the opposite, sorry. If it's less than 550, it's going to be 550. My bad. Let's see, now it should. There we go. Okay. So you can see it won't let me go beyond my mouse here. So that's good. All right, so now I can move around a little bit, but I can't go any higher than this because I don't want to go too high. Now you could just make it straight up and you just say it's a certain size or a certain way, but I'm not going to do that. Now the other thing I want to do is you can see my mouse in it. I'd rather not see that, so I'm just going to up here go ahead and just do mouse.hide like that, and that's just going to make it so you don't see the mouse. All right, mouse.hide. Come on. And now you can see I can't see my mouse until I get off. See, right here's my mouse. All right, but you can see no matter what, it only goes to the end of the stage, and basically I can do that. Yay! All right. So that is looking pretty good. Now the next thing I want to be able to do that my player needs to be able to do is shoot. Right. So you can move and you can shoot. So I'm going to make another function. And this one is going to be based off of a mouse click. So I'm just going to go after this, and I'm just going to go ahead and click on him. I just need to have something selected in order to use these snippets. So again, underneath event handlers, I'm just going to go ahead and do a mouse click event. Double click on that. I'm going to get rid of this gobbledygook. And you can see it added player event hit listener, blah, blah, blah. As it currently stands, that means that you have to be touching on him in order for that to work. So if I click over here, it's not going to happen. I wanted that you click anywhere and it happens. Honestly, it's stuck on my cursor, so it should theoretically work anyway, but just to make it a little bit more universal, I'm just going to go ahead and put stage.addEventListener. So now if I click anywhere on the stage, it will happen. And I'm just going to call this function shoot, because this is going to be our shoot function. So shoot, because that's what it's going to do. All right. Now, good. So let's go ahead and get rid of this bit here. And let's tab that in, and here we go. So, I need to do a couple of things. First off, I need to look over in the library, and here's my shot. And you need to make sure that this is probably blank. So I'm going to shot. You need to make sure that you go into this linkage, and I'm going to type in bullet. Basically, because it's not on the stage, in order to instantiate it or create an object from it, in the code here, we have to have a way of linking to it. And so this is just like when we have this selected and it's on stage, you have an instance name. If you want to get something from here, it can't have an instance name because it's not in here yet. This is how you basically link it. All right. So you just need to make sure whatever your name is. I'm just going to use bullet because that makes the most sense. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new bullet based off of that. So I'm going to do var bullet, and this time notice it's lowercase. So I'm just going to call it lowercase in here, and this one will be uppercase. Bullet, and it's going to be able to type movie clip, okay? And not that equals a new bullet, like that. And basically what it's saying is make a movie clip called bullet, and then what I want you to do is make it create this from a template of this. So basically it's like we're taking this and putting it in here. We're building this off of this as an example. Okay, so this is like a template. All right. Now, what I need to have happen is that will create it in the code. It hasn't been added in here yet. It just created a variable with that in it. The next thing I need to do is set the position of it. So we're going to do bullet.x. We're going to set it equal to the player.x. And you probably know what we're going to do also is bullet.y is going to be equal to the player.y. Now, what that's going to do is it's going to basically, whatever the player position is, it's going to put it right in the center of it, wherever my registration point is on my player, which on this case, it's right kind of on the top where his head is here. See that little plus symbol? Now, if I want it to be slightly offset, like probably a little bit above it, what I can do is do player.y minus, and let's say 10. And what that's going to do is it's going to say whatever the player y position is, and then minus 10. And if you remember, to go up is actually negative because this is 0, 0. So as I go this way, it goes positive to whatever number. So let's say I can get 480. And as I go down, it gets positive to 800 in this case. So if I want to go up, I'm actually making the number smaller. Okay. So that will set the button or the bullet, because obviously I want it to start where the player is roughly. That's good. Then what I need to do is actually create the bullet. And we have to do something which is kind of weird, but later on I want to test if that bullet hits something. And right now as it stands, I don't really have a... I have to make this extra like variable to hold the bullets. We actually have to make 2 variables, okay? So we're going to go up here, and I guess we will do it before. Usually you declare your variables up here. So we're going to make 2 variables. I'm going to do a variable called bullet container, and that's going to be of the type movie clip. Oops. Movie clip. All right, and it's going to be a new movie clip. Okay. So what we did right here is we made a movie clip, and it's just an empty movie clip. That's what this means. It's just going to make it an empty one based off of whatever the default movie clip settings are inside of Animate here. All right, so we're going to make that. And then after we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and do add child. And the child we want to add is the bullet container. Okay. So what that's going to do is we created it here, but it doesn't exist on the stage yet. By putting add child, it's going to add in whatever is in here. In this case, it's going to be our bullet container. And this is what we're going to use in order to put our bullets in. All right. Now, the other thing I need to create is something that's going to hold, it's going to keep track of our bullets. Okay. So every time I shoot a bullet, I want that bullet that I know what number bullet that is. All right. And you'll see why that's important later. But so I'm going to do another variable, and this one's going to be a bullet underscore AA or ARR for an array, and it's going to be of type array equals and these square brackets. Okay, so it's going to be an array. All an array is a list. So every time I make a bullet, I'm going to add it to my list of bullets, and that way when I need to select a specific one, I have a way of doing that. When I put the bullets into this container, it's one big group, but I have no way. It's the same thing as like when I click on this drawing. See how there's 2 things here? Like there's the ship and there's the guy. That's what I'm doing when I do the bullet container. Oops, not there, sorry. That's the same thing I'm doing when I do this bullet container. I'm going to put them in there, but I have no way of knowing what's what. It's literally, I'm just nesting. I'm going to nest these bullets into this bullet container. If I want to select a specific bullet, I'll use this bullet array. All right. So now that we did a bunch of that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to add a bullet. Now, normally I could just do add child, and we would just say bullet. But in this case, just to keep it organized so I know where it is, I'm going to do bullet container dot add child, and that's going to be bullet like this. Okay. And what that's doing is it's we're going to, instead of if we do just add child, just adds it to the stage. This will actually add it underneath this bullet container movie, so it's like it's nested in. So that's what that's going to do. So that's actually going to add it to the stage because this is already on the stage, so it's going to add it onto that. And then the other thing I want to do is index it into my array, and for that we're going to do bullet underscore r array, okay, dot push. Oops, not bullet. All right, and so what that's going to do, push is a special method, which is just a function inside of there, that when we say push, what it'll say is that however many bullets I currently have, whatever number we're on, so it starts at 0, so we'll have bullet 0, bullet 1, bullet 2, bullet 3, bullet 4, whatever is in that array. What I want you to do is just at the end of it add this bullet, this new one. That's what push does. It just adds one more index and then pushes the object into it. Okay, so that should be good actually. Let's go ahead and test that. So I'll do Control Enter, and now you can see, yay! So you can see it's kind of in my guy. So if I want to make the bullet up a little bit higher, I can just go. Let's try -50 for my player Y here. I think that should move it up, I believe. So you see it's a little bit higher now. It's a little bit better. Man, it didn't go very much though. But now you can see I can shoot these bullets, and that's great. Okay. So now we have shooting. So that's pretty good. Next, what we'll do is save this. Save it. And then in the next video, I'm going to go ahead and we will make the enemies and then probably collide with them as well.